The Honda Passport has always been able to handle itself off-road, but because it looked more like a minivan and less like a truck, nobody took it very seriously. Say hello to the fix for that problem, the 2026 Honda Passport. It still has all the hardware you want to actually go off-road, and now it looks the part too. This is an indication of something that actually wants to go off-road. Look at this recovery hook right here. It's actually rated to hold twice the Passport's weight when you're pulling it out. But if you get into a collision, it actually pushes inward, so you don't use it as a battering ram. Everything about this design is modern, boxy off-roader. Just like this, and definitely just like this. Take a look at the Passport's new, very squared off looking face, but immediately my attention was drawn right here, these amber daytime running lights. I remember when Kia first did this on the Telluride, I thought it was awesome then, and I think this is awesome now. It's a really strong look. All right, if you're still not sold that the Passport has upped its off-road game, allow me to show you this. This is the stainless steel front skid plate. There's also one at the back to cover up the fuel tank. It's pretty hefty. Drop that for a second and come over here to show you the 31-inch General tire. Honda collaborated with the tire manufacturer to develop this specifically for the Passport. 31-inch, biggest tire Honda has ever put on a vehicle. If you look closely right here, the stems are actually pushed inward so that you don't scrape it when you're off-road on a trail. For better or for worse, the Passport retains the same 3.5-liter V6. Now, for some of you, that's good news when you consider that the 4Runner is now 4-cylinder only. This time around, the 6 makes 285 horsepower. That is a whopping 5 more than in the previous generation. The bigger news is that it now uses a 10-speed automatic transmission, which in theory should improve the fuel economy slightly, though Honda tells us the numbers should be pretty comparable to before. The Passport has torque vectoring all-wheel drive that can send 40% more power to the rear axle than the previous generation. Honda also says that it now responds 30% quicker to help react in moments when you need traction the most. Big upgrades for the Passport inside. Now here I am in a Passport Trail Sport Elite, which is at the top of the trim levels. And there you get all the stuff they can throw at this car. That means ventilated front seats, really nice Bose audio, some good things there. But I want to point out that the most important things are standard on every Passport, which I think is super smart of Honda to do, including this giant 12.3-inch screen and a 10.2-inch instrument cluster. Over here, we have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, and my personal favorite, Google built in. So you get Google Maps, the voice assistant, and the store to download third-party apps like Spotify. We've already played around with this system a bunch in the new Civic and the new Accord with the same screen size, and it is fantastic. It's also worth pointing out that none of this is available on the Pilot, which is a bigger 3-row vehicle compared to the Passport. That makes this an even better value proposition. Back seats have come a long way since I was young, I gotta say. So first of all, a ton of space back here. I'm sat behind myself as a driver right now, 5'8", but even still, plenty of legroom. There's actually more legroom than there was in the last gen Passport, and you can really feel it back here. We have cup holders on the side. We have a little spot to put your phone up there, though it barely holds the big size iPhone. And then we have heated seats on both sides, independent climate control, and 2 spots to plug in your phone. So the cargo area in the Passport is bigger than it was before. We have 44 cubic feet of space behind the second row. Translation, it's big back here. For the first time, you can fit a golf bag sideways, which is really good news if your name is Brian Wong. But you can also see that there's underfloor storage. In this case, they have a generator, but you can put all sorts of stuff. Really clever, typical Honda solutions. Then over here, we can show you a vehicle that has some of the accessories you can purchase from Honda, including these giant rock sliders that run the majority of the body between the wheelbase. Gives you a lot more area to protect underneath against rocks. Final note on that is actually the tow hitch. It's another area that is the first point of contact so that you're not banging anything important under here. The exhaust included is tucked way underneath. Honda took it very seriously because they know if you have a rock underneath, you don't want it hitting anything that'll hurt the car. Off-roaders like to make their vehicles unique. Honda knows this, so this has more accessories available than it ever has before on the Passport. The green car here has just a few of them. Black HPD specific wheels. But if you come over here, my favorite one by far. It's a cargo shelf, so you can put a whole bunch of stuff and separate everything. But if you look over this direction, that same piece actually turns into a table for when you go camping. First gen CRV, anybody? That's cool. More serious off-roaders will likely still flock to the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro with its more sophisticated suspension and body-on-frame setup. But the new Passport matches up nicely with the Subaru Outback Wilderness and the Jeep Grand Cherokee. While I haven't driven the new Passport yet, I can tell you from experience that I think the Honda offers the best technology of the three. It does have less ground clearance than the Subaru and the Jeep, but it has similar power and interior space. On paper at least, Honda has built a very competitive vehicle that should stack up nicely if you're considering an Outback or a Grand Cherokee, maybe even a 4Runner. So the new Passport will start in the mid $40,000 range, likely creeping up a few grand from the previous model. It will go on sale next year and we expect to drive it around the same time. To me, this feels like a big step up for the Passport, which hasn't really been a particularly compelling vehicle, at least so far. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.